Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so it is 11:22. Wristwatch check. I've got the military watch on, and this military watch actually works really well with, in Japan, what you call cool biz. And what is cool biz? Well, I guess it's short for cool business, meaning keeping yourself not hot. And what that is it's sort of a situation where the companies say that they're going to keep the AC not so high as to save power, with the understanding that they'll be a little lax with the dress code, i.e. no tie and no coat. You know, the corporate culture here is pretty strict, and so when Cool Biz started, I want to say, what, a decade ago, it was a way to sort of, you know, save energy, and, you know, for the company man, it's got the appeal because you don't have to wear the old noose. But anyway, this watch with its black strap works really well with my black pants, which hopefully you can get a shot of that. I'm embarrassed to say they have pleats. They have pleats. Would I buy pleats in the future? No. In fact, I saw an interesting survey about what women dislike, what they don't recommend a man wear, and pleats was at the top of the list. So this was like a cheap suit, and so it came with pleats, and I wasn't too fussed about it. But I never really liked pleats, but when I saw that news story, I was like, yeah, I'm done with pleats. If I got to pay a little extra for a suit, it's cool. So, but it works kind of well with this watch, and this is a really simple watch. What am I doing? I'm checking on that Timex. I just want to see if it's there. I'm totally over it. I don't want it anymore. But I've got 5 minutes, and so let's see if it's sold. There it is. All right, guys, still there. Hasn't sold at all. All right, well, let's take the time. I'll let you guys pause the video and check out the HD goodness if you want to compare prices with your home country prices. Looks like the Grand Seiko inventory really hasn't changed over. I don't think people probably would come to this store to buy at least an expensive watch. Lesser Seikos right here. Yeah, alright. Alright, so we'll check in every now and then and see if that Seiko Alpinist sells. I'm just curious when it will sell. There are a lot of people out there that would like to stumble upon that watch without that 500 USD price tag that they're going for right now. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. All right. So what was I wearing before the military watch? Well, surprisingly, I was wearing the Orient. You know, that last video I made when I had the Orient on. Well, I wore the Orient from that day, from that video, up until yesterday. And I was surprised at myself. But it just sort of hit the spot. I don't know why. You guys know I love bezels. Not just any bezel, but rotating bezels. I love rotating bezels. And I realized when I was using that Orient how much I used the bezel. I remember I used the bezel one day. I must have used it 10 times. Marking times, marking off 5 minutes, marking off train times. And I thought, you know, as much as I always talk about Datejusts, and I love Datejusts, I just miss the bezel. I don't think I'll ever buy another watch without a rotating bezel. So I just love them. I love rotating bezels, and that's a real drawback of the Explorer too. I've actually thought about getting rid of the Explorer 2, getting a GMT Coke, continuing to hoard the Pepsi. I know, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I do love the white of that dial, that Explorer 2 dial. I love it. So, but yeah, just there's something about the functionality of a rotating bezel that I like. You know, you guys are probably thinking, you could have your cake and eat it too. If you get a Datejust, you could get the turnograph. That's interesting. What do I think about the turnograph? What do you think about the turnograph? Let's talk about that for a minute. The turnograph is an interesting watch. I don't hate it, but it's a jack of all trades. I mean, it's a sports-ish watch with that rotating bezel. But, you know, they come on, I want to say you can get them on Jubilees, and they have that Datejust DNA. So they kind of have that business aspect too. But while they're a jack of all trades, they're sort of a master of none. It doesn't look as dressy as it should, and it doesn't look as sporty as it could. So it's sort of it's too middle of the road, but they are cool, and I do like them. You know, it's interesting. I saw an interesting post on, I want to say, the Rolex forum. I'll put a link in the description. And the person was in New York, and there was an advertisement for a 9/11 Memorial Museum, and the watch in question that was mangled and burned from what happened there was stuck on, the date was stuck on 11. And it was haunting. And there's a similar display in, I want to say, Hiroshima, the museum which talks about the bombing in Hiroshima, and a mangled clock is stuck at the exact time the bomb hit in Hiroshima, or perhaps that's Nagasaki. I've been to both museums; they're pretty haunting. But this watch, this was a turnograph. So a turnograph wearer perished in 9/11, and that is a haunting image. Anyway, turnographs. I do like them. I do like them, but and they could, yeah. I don't know. I'd sooner stick with the. Well, I'd sooner go Coke than get a turnograph, and you know, the whole thing about a Datejust is just they're so vanilla. They're so standard. That's what's kind of cool about them. Random thought. You know what I'm not into? All steel Datejusts with diamond dials. That's weird. If you're gonna have a diamond dial, you have to have some gold on there. Anyway, what do you think about that? I gotta catch a train. All right, guys, this is my train behind me. I've got about 1 minute and 15 seconds. So let me tell you an interesting story about this. When I was in the States, that's when I got this watch. I was traveling with the Explorer 2. I'd worn the Explorer 2 for probably a week, and spent a lot of time with this gentleman. And he never mentioned the Explorer 2, which is a pretty cool watch, pretty heavy-hitting watch if you ask me. Nothing like a sub or a GMT, but still, you know, worth talking about, worth thinking about. I got this watch, and he really doted over it. He was like, really, like, oh, that's a really cool watch. And something hit me. This guy's sort of anti-fanciness, and I think his praise of this watch was actually, in a way, a screw you to the fanciness of Rolex. That's how I took it. Anyway, gotta get on this train. leaves at 35 past the hour. Alright guys, take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.